was wondering, when did you meet Dad? How did you and Dad meet?
Oh, we knew each other, I guess.
For a long time?
Yeah.
Did you?
We didn't live too far away, you know.
Where
it's quite a ways with horses, but then
Where did Dad live?
he lived where Ed, on Ed's.
On this. Well, that's quite a little ways.
Yeah, that's quite a ways to go with a team, but when he
Uh-huh.
come to see me, he used to come on horseback.
Oh, yeah?
One night his horse got loose and he couldn't find it. For a long time he had to walk a long ways for it found it to go home.
Let's see, and you lived right near Springfield, was that
Right.
it? You lived near Springfield, Nebraska?
Springview.
Springview.
Yeah, Springview.
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 Springview was our closest town. That
Mhm.
was 9 miles east of us, nearly straight.
And you had to take the horse and buggy at first,
Yeah.
probably, to
Oh,
get into
yeah.
town.
Wagon or whatever it was.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, the first car we had was when Dale went to high school.
Mm-hmm.
And my father never drove the car. But he got it and Dale drove it home the first night. They showed him how to run it and everything, but he just kind of jumped.
Sort of like the horse and
Yeah, until he got caught on, you know. And then we had to go uphill and down, and with the road, there's just a road, and then, what did they call it, in between the road, the grass grow there.
Uh-huh.
And the car would hit that sometime.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't made for cars, see.
Oh,
Mhm.
yes. It was
They
so
just
right.
had a road with that grass in between.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the way it was a lot of times. Then in the winter we couldn't go with it. We had to put it up and just leave it.
Mm-hmm. What kind of car was that? Do you remember?
Leave. But
Do you remember what kind of car you got?
I guess it was a Ford.
Model T
Probably.
or Model A? Or
Yeah, probably
Mhm.
was.
Mhm.
I can't remember that.
do you remember what year?
What year?
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't believe I
About
did.
19... Let's
It
see,
was when
Uncle
Dale
Dale,
and June went to high school.
Uncle Dale was born in 1901, so it was probably when he was going to high school.
When he was going to high school.
So he was
So-
16 or 17, so it must have been in 1917
Yeah,
or something.
I don't know this
Yeah,
one.
Around that time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think my father died in 1900. He
Yeah,
was a little
probably
before
about that
that,
time.
so probably 70 or something.
What kind of car did we have? What the car that
The
we
car
had
that we had at home, that Dad
at home
had.
that Dad and you had, and that I
That
remember.
was
You
a
mean when
Ford.
we sold it? Or what?
No, the car that we had before we got the 1949 Ford, I think it was. Was it a Model T, Model A? Don, I bet you know.
Oh, you
don't
mean what we had?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, oh, yes, yes, that is
A
a
Model
Model
A.
A. A Model A, it's just a roadster.
Oh, that was a Roadster.
Yeah, just a roadster.
Mhm.
But we give $600 and some dollars for it.
Oh, is it? Well,
And
things
then
have
We had
changed
that
a
a good many
little.
years too.
At that time, Dale was down in Spencer. You know, that was after Clarence's Eve's husband died.
Mhm.
My mother and Dale went down to live with her, and he farmed the place. So Ori wanted to go down there to show him the new car.
Uh-huh.
So we went down, and then we took Elaine home. I think Elaine got Elaine first.
Uh-huh.
Came home, and she's only 5 years old.
Oh, yeah.
And that is before Alice was born.
Well, so you had, how big was the house when you and Dad first moved in there?
Just 2 rooms.
2 rooms, and then
There's a big kitchen, and then there's a little pantry, they call it then, where you...
Well, I remember
put
that
a-
pantry.
Yes, I bet.
before
And then a bedroom, or a living room, I guess, and a bedroom, or whatever you call it.
Mm-hmm.
And that big kitchen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then Ori built on a big porch on the west, screened-in porch. He did that himself.
Mm-hmm.
Then next we built 2 bedrooms on the east.
Mm-hmm.
And then that wasn't big enough, so we raised the roof. Took the roof all off and raised it, and made the kitchen on the north.
Mm-hmm.
And then bedrooms all upstairs. I don't know what year that was.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that
small.
too, but I don't remember the year.
That's when the twins were just old enough to get into things.
Yeah, I kind of remember that. I
And
remember.
John was real
Yeah,
good.
we
And
were
that was
around.
the carpenter, John Hurton.
Mm-hmm.
He made the house, took the roof up.
Mm-hmm.
And Dale and Bill come up hunting there while we was in that mess.
Oh, is that right?
They'd come up
They didn't
and
care.
a little while. They just stayed a little while that time.
Yes, I remember when.
Bill Cornell. He
Yeah.
came up every year hunting then, so he seemed like one of the family after a while.
Well, Uncle Dale used to come up every year
Oh,
pheasant
yes.
hunting, and then he'd
They
bring
all
his dog.
Gertrude,
Yeah,
Gertrude and the girls.
I remember one time it was about 5 of them that came up, wasn't it?
Yeah, one man. Gertrude didn't come then.
Yeah.
No, she just 4 or 5 men came.
Yeah.
One was electrician, the others were dentists.
Mhm.
we had
Uh-huh.
we got a new spring buggy in that, and that was real nice, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Or
What
a
was
top,
the- what
top
was the-
buggy.
What was the spring buggy like? Was
Well,
it covered or was it open?
Well, you got them either way.
Mhm.
We had one, just the seat in front and the seat in the back. And then, but they had them all covered and a place to step up, you know, like a car and everything. But they was more expensive, we couldn't afford that. But what we had was just the 2 seats, you know. We'd have to pile up sometime in the seats,
Yeah.
sit on each other's lap.
And then you had a horse pull it, huh?
Horses, and we
Mhm.
had horses.
How
When
many
you-
horses would you
Oh, we
have?
had a lot of horses. And my father raised horses. Yeah, and we had after we bought the other place from Owen and Evan, after Owen and Evan moved away, and he put pasture there and we raised horses and mules. And then
He'd sell them?
he'd sell them.
Oh.
Of course, that wasn't the ones we liked the best, but
Yeah.
we always hated to see them go, but
Uh-huh.
he'd sell them every year. And sometimes he'd have somebody to break them to ride before people buy them.
Mm-hmm.
And some people would do that, you know.
Oh.
Raise them.
How much would you sell them for? Do you remember what kind of price you get out of it?
I can't remember
that, yeah.
what we did sell them for.
Of course, I think horses were more expensive at
Yes,
that time
yeah.
because they were a mode of transportation and they were very important,
Mm-hmm.
you know, to the people.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that they were.
I just can't remember. I guess money didn't mean much to
Yeah.
me.
Years ago.
What'd you do
But
for?
we had our own horses we didn't sell. But we did have a pair of mules that was real good. I do remember what we got for them. And it's $400.
My goodness.
And that was a wonderful price because they're so good. They wanted to pull a thrash machine with it. And when the man got them to pull his thrash machine, they wouldn't work for him. They wouldn't.
Huh.
My dad just knew and said the right words, I guess, and they just
They
get
liked
down
it.
and pull. And then when this man got them, they wouldn't pull for him. But he'd yell at them. My father didn't yell. He talked real slow, but he'd say, you know, and call them good names. And they just did that.
Oh my goodness.
But he had to sell them then. And I guess he didn't get as much as they paid, but we all cried.
Yeah.
Mona was
imagine.
teaching school and she saw him go by and she knew they sold him. She said she had to cry
Oh, yeah.
because we liked him.
Mm. What did you do for fun when you were a
What do you do
child?
for what?
For fun?
For fun?
Yeah.
Yeah, we played ball and we'd go skating in the winter and sleigh riding down,
Mm.
yeah. Riding horses a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Played in the Cub Creek in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
We couldn't get how to swim, but we just get in and get wet all over. We just put old clothes on. We didn't have bathing suits.
Mm-hmm.
Just put old clothes on. We didn't care how wet or dirty we got. We had,
Did you play any kind of sports in school or like
no.
at home? Did you?
I never went to high school, you know, but in
But in
grade
grammar
school we just played games like tag and steel sticks and things
What's
like
steel
that.
sticks?
Steel sticks.
How does that? What is steel sticks?
Oh, well, each one had so many sticks, and you'd get across and try to get their stick away from us. Whoever got their sticks first, why they won the game. That is when Uncle Dale played too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And he and Art Larson, they always liked each other, and they never wanted to be separated. They both wanted to be on the same team, on the same side, you know. And they'd say, well, the rest of you can all be on the other side if you let us be together. But that's pretty good, both of them.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes they'd beat us even then.
Yeah. What did you? What kind of meals did you have
Kind of meals?
Meals, you know, what did you eat? What kind of food? Like we have today, or was it?
We'd have sandwiches and apples maybe, and pie sometimes.
You raised most of your own vegetables and fruit?
Cooked everything we had.
Uh-huh. But you had like a
Tomatoes
garden,
sometimes, you know, ripe tomatoes.
and you canned. Did you can
Oh
a lot of
yes,
food?
we canned an awful lot. We didn't have enough cans to can. And we got syrup in tin pails, you know, like they are, with the lid that fit in. And then we'd take sealing wax and go around that to seal it. And that'd keep tomatoes. Because we canned a lot of tomatoes and didn't have near enough jars.
Well, how would you preserve your meat? Like today we freeze it, but you wouldn't have a freezer.
yeah, then we would can it in quart jars, cut it up in little pieces and cook it in the oven.
Oh.
The jars, we'd have to cook it 2 or 3 hours. But that was really good. And you could make gravy with it, you know. And someone's saying they wish you could, or June and I guess, we wish you had something.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of work to do. And then we'd render lard and maybe get 20 gallons of lard.
And you made your own soap too at that time.
Made soap out of the lard if it got old, why you'd make soap out of it, or cracklings, we call what was left. We'd make soap out of that.
Which was quite a process.
Yes, it's quite a job to do.
You had to use
You
lye.
take lye and water, put it in water, and then you stir that in, knead it up, and then cook it out there. Have sticks and things, you know, and cook it up.
I remember when Mom was making soap, and
Yeah, I expect you to.
yeah, and I remember when you stubbed your toe on a rock and it got out of place and it was just sticking
Yeah,
straight
I know.
out of the side.
Yes.
And you were
We
jumping
had to
around.
go
She
about
was
40
really
miles
hurt.
to the doctor.
That's right.
You mean the bone was sticking out of it?
The toe, no, just the toe was sticking. It was out of place and it was just sticking
Sticking
out.
right
Oh.
straight out
Straight up.
on the
Came
side.
out.
It was out of place. We went dangerous to the doctor,
Mhm.
and then he gave me some kind of chloroform or something.
Yeah.
40 miles later at 35 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about water? How did you get your water? You had to.
Oh, we pumped. My father would dig the well, and then if that well would wear out, why, he'd just dig another one and cover that up.
How did he dig it?
Well, first we had one, we'd go around this way.
To
and
pump?
Took the pump, and then we got one where they pumped the
Mhm.
handle. You probably remember that day.
Mm-hmm.
That is when I was a girl.
Yeah.
You wasn't, you know, I wasn't married then.
Yeah.
That's
But
when I lived down there.
well, Barry was wondering how did your father dig the well?
How do you dig a well?
Uh-huh.
With a spade.
Oh, boy.
And he'd had to get down in there. We didn't go too deep then. The water was pretty.
Mhm.
And then he'd lay rocks up there.
Boy,
All
that took
around
a
so
long
it'd be
time,
clear.
didn't it?
Isn't that
Uh,
something?
Yeah.
it'd be quite a job then.
Mm-hmm.
Because he'd be way down in. They'd have to carry it up with a bucket with a rope
Yeah.
tied around the handle. Maybe a 5-gallon bucket, and then he'd carry it up there.
Mm.
But your dad, when we made that, made the basement under the kitchen, he had to when we put the furnace in, boy, he had to crawl back in there and carry all that up that ladder,
Oh,
Oh
really?
my goodness.
the dirt all up that ladder
That was
in
a
a
job.
5-gallon bucket.
Yeah.
That was a good job.
Like, oh, maybe it's more than 5 gallons.
But you couldn't carry much more than 5
No, I
gallons.
suppose
It
not.
would be so heavy. I would think with dirt.
Then he'd come up through the kitchen and take it out,
Yeah.
empty.